At this prison, the vice lords had all the weed, right? Because their guy's the one that had the plug, he had all the weed. But the gangsters ran the kitchen, and they ran the maintenance shop, and they ran all that stuff. So the vice lord didn't have nowhere to really hide the weed except on the zone, and that was dangerous. So one of my gangster brothers hid the weed for him in the kitchen, and somehow, some way, some weed come up missing. So then it's a big issue. So it starts out with just with a vice lord and a gangster in each other's face, and then everybody gets up, and next thing you know, shanks come out, and it's chaos. You know, I don't care how big and bad somebody thinks they are. They don't want to live in that environment, man. They don't want to. I watched a guy in Parchman. There's this white dude. I remember his name was Robert. He'd been there 30 years. He's a little slow in the head. You know what I mean? He wasn't all the way wrapped tight. And he was in there for murder. Well, this little gangster, they got these big floor fans, right? And Robert had his pants, he had some visitation pants that he washed out by hand, and he had them drying on the big floor fan. And went back into his cell, and this little gangster come over there, and he took the pants off the fan and put them on the handrail and put his own pants on there. Well, then Robert come out, he went over and sat down playing cards. And Robert come out, and he walks over to this fan. It's movie night. So we're on top tier. There's 2 floors. And me and my Royal brothers, we sitting on the not balcony, but got our feet hanging off where the handrail is, watching the movie on the TV downstairs. And we saw Robert come out of his cell, and we laughed. We thought it was funny at first because he had this dumbfounded look on his face. You know, we was always picking with Robert because he just wasn't all the way there. But he had this dumbfounded look on his face. He looked at the pants on the handrail, and then he looked at the pants on the fan, and he had to do a double take until he finally realized somebody took his pants off the fan. And he yelled, "Hey, who took my pants off this fan?" And the little gangster said, "Chill out, white boy. I got mine on there. I'll put yours back on when I get through." Robert didn't say nothing. He walked back into his cell, and he come back out with, looked like a sword. It was a lawnmower blade that he made into a shank, and the blade was that long, dude. And he got after that little gangster, and everybody cleared. Everybody scattered to get out the way. And he chased him around the top tier with that big shank. Every time they get to the steps, the little gangster, he couldn't run down the steps because he couldn't make that turn because Robert was on him. And so he ran around until he was just tired. And he stopped at the bathroom. He said, "Okay, Robert, all right, man, my bad." And Robert hit him with it. And he hit him with that knife probably 10 times. Every time he'd hit him with the knife, you'd hear it would sound like the metal hit the wall behind him, like it went all the way through him. I don't know, but that's what it sounded like. And when it was over with, it was just silence in the whole zone. Just silence. Robert went to his, and this whole time now when it's going on, they people out downstairs hitting the button, "Get the police, get the police, get the police," banging on the door, you know, but he's up here murdering this guy. And he went back to his cell and sat on his bed and sat his knife in front of him and just waited for the police. Police got there, they took the little dude out and took Robert. They didn't even handcuff him or nothing. They've been dealing with him for 30 years. They grabbed his knife and walked him on out and took him to the hole.